Alright, we're back. We got a visit from the boss. She's still walking around a little bit. She made it all the way out to here. That's good. Alright, so we got some spokes down here we're going to use. So these are Buchanan stainless steel. They're short for drum brake. Special made. So first thing I do is pull them out. Make sure you have 20. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8. 2 more is 10. Okay, we got all of that one. They give you some magic goop to use. It looks like it's pretty dry. Good instructions on how to do what you're going to do. Yeah, make sure you read up on these now. Very important. Here's some nice stainless steel nipples to go to stainless steel spokes. And this is our other spoke. As I recall, they're all the same on the drum brake. Nope, they're going to be different. So, count these also. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. That makes 40. So we got short spoke, long spoke. The length is the same. It's the head up here is different. See, this one's shorter than this one because these have to overlap like this. So when they overlap, one has to be longer to overlap. So that's why you make two different ones. That also means these all have to be put together before you put the wheel together. They all have to go inside the drum. Alright, so don't mix those up because it don't work very well when you do that. So we get our nipples here. I'm assuming this is all in there because it's a sealed package. Now that was really good. I cut the bag, but I cut it right at the pinch weld mark. So that means the bag's still closed. Okay, put a hole in it now. Okay. Okay, read the instructions about the lube again. If you don't lube your spokes, they gall up and stick. That means you got to put some kind of lubricant between here and here, or you're going to have a problem. They will weld themselves together, and then you're done. So make sure you put something on there. So this is their magic green lube. They also have a newer stuff, which is a black color. And if you don't have any of that, some good high-point gear oil will work also. Or you can use assembly oil, which is nice and thick also. Got a lot of high pressure additives in it. So something like that. Worse, the next thing down is use regular motor oil. WD-40 is not really a lubricant. It's not really what you want to use. It's better than nothing, but not much better. So the thicker the oil, the better for that application. Okay, so what we got to do now is we got to figure out what goes in which hole. If you look at the spokes, they're offset at an angle like this. And the rim, if you look at how the rim is made, they're offset also. You got to try to figure out how this goes together. Now, if you looked at the parts or the service manual, it'd probably show you how to do all this. But I'd have to go find that. That's a lot of work. We'll work around it. Short spoke and long spoke. So first thing we got to do is figure out which way these spokes go. Bearing already fell out. Okay, so we need to get this a lot lower than this. You can see what we're doing down here. Alright. So, you take some nipples, put them in the rim here. Get an idea what we're talking about here. Alright, so these dimple holes are cut at angles. So when you put your nipples in here, you can see the angles and how they're made. So if you look at how these are going, these ones over here are pointed uphill, and these ones down here are pointed downhill. And if you look at the angle, this one here is either leading or trailing this side, depending on which way you're going, either this, depending on which side of the rim you're going from. So that makes a difference. Now when you look at your drum over here, you have the same thing. You got this hole is either trailing or leading this hole, depending on which way you're going. Now you want these two holes to match up to what you're doing over here. So that's the important part. So when you're doing this stuff, you're going to have an overlap spoke, which you don't know which one's overlapping. And we don't know if these are on the inside or the outside. That's the other problem. I'm going to guess that they go on the outside. They might not. But usually if you look at the holes, see how these are straight in here? See how these have kind of a little bit of low spot to them? That means they're probably made to be on the outside. Okay, this is going to be really hard to do with one hand, especially without doing damage to the drum, which we're trying not to do, obviously. Okay, we're going to put this right over here, blow it up just a little bit. Hopefully you can see what's going on. Okay, so when you put the spoke in there, you got the head of the spoke right here, and see how it fits into the drum there, because it's made to go into it. Now if you go the other direction with a spoke, see how the head doesn't go recess into it, it stays above the surface, so it's not made to go that way. So these are all things you have to figure out. Okay, now that's a short spoke, this is a long spoke, so I'm just going to put two in there right now like that. And these are obviously going to go across each other like this. That's how these are going to go. Alright. Now what we got to do is figure out our spread right here. Now normally you have a cross 4 pattern on a Harley hub. So that means you have spoke would go across 4 different spokes like this to make a V in it. That's your lace pattern. But on these ones here, it's not that much of a cross. So if you took a picture of what it looked like, you could see what it would be, but we're just going to figure it out here. I'm going to guess it's going to be like a cross 2. So let's put a couple of them in here. Okay, that was a short spoke, so I'm going to do a long spoke over here. I mean, excuse me, a short one there, a long one here. Okay. So we know that this one here is going to have to go like that, because that's our pattern. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to take 2 of these spokes and line them up over here. So the 2 that are in the air, the high ones, are what's going to go to these ones over here. Now we're just doing a mock-up here to see what the pattern's going to be. So we're not getting too carried away here. Okay, so that has just a single cross in there like that. So you can see how it's crossed right here when it went across one there. And you look how the drum is not very centered in your wheel. It's way too far over. Now these spokes are going to go up to at least where the thread is. So we can pull this, go this way a little bit further, like this. That'll be where it's going to sit. But you see how it's not centered. So that means that that's not the correct pattern. That means we have to go way over here and pick up one of these over here and cross it over like that. Maybe better being in the air so you can see better. Trying to get it where you can actually see what's going on. Okay. So I don't like the way the spoke is right now, so we're going to get rid of this one here. Here's our long ones. Long ones go down low. Where's our long ones at? The first problem is I got this put in wrong. Supposed to go every other spoke is the same, not two next to each other. So this is our low one. These are both low spokes. Who caught that? Put a long spoke in there. Okay. So now I go like this. This is our next spoke that's sticking up in the air. So that's going to be our next spoke. You rotate the drum all the way it's going to be where it's centered. We can go ahead and put these all the way until the flush with the end of the thread. Most spokes are going to cover up all the threads on them when they're in there all the way correctly. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to rotate this a little bit further to where it kind of centers up where it belongs. Okay, now we're going to take this spoke here, we're going to see where it lines up. It kind of lines up right here, and when you put your nipple in there, if you notice it's sticking uphill, which means this one here lines up to it. Okay, so now we have these three in here. This one over here would be our next high one, would be way over here. Point it uphill and see it lines up with this one pretty nicely. Okay, so there's our pattern in there. Now if we had another one of spokes over here, the next one would be this one over here, would be a long one. That one's going uphill, and that would be this one. Okay. Just kind of pull it where it wants to be at, center it up, and if everything's correct, the drum will be in the center of the wheel. And if you look at it, it's pretty well centered. So this is our pattern right here. So that was our first row. Now the next thing is we got to figure out our bottom row. So we have to figure out how those go. Now you can either work from the underneath like this, or you can flip the wheel over and look at it from the other side, which might be a little easier to do. Couldn't get to it. The problem is you can't put the spokes in because these other ones are in the way. But we're checking pattern. We're not installing it just yet. If you're not sure where it's going to sit, you can do a gravity like this. It's the same thing. It's going to hang in the center of your wheel when it's correct. See, it's not moving around. It's hanging there. It's only got 5 spokes in it, but it's hanging where it's going to sit. So that means it's in there in the correct spot. If your pattern was wrong, then you would know it's wrong because it wouldn't be there. Okay, so now I'm going to go over here and do this other side.